Netflix started in 1997 as a DVD rental by mail service, founded by Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph. Unlike Blockbuster, Netflix removed late fees and focused on convenience, innovation, and customer experience.
Well, many blame the decline and fall of Blockbuster on Netflix, and there's a lot of truth to that, but not always for the reason people think. Blockbuster was actually given the opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million. Considering Netflix's market cap today, this was arguably the worst missed opportunity in history. But contrary to popular perception, Blockbuster wasn't at all oblivious to the threat Netflix posed. In fact, the company's own annual reports listed them as their chief rival. Instead, Blockbuster chose to compete with Netflix. And when we consider the fact that Blockbuster collected more than $800 million from just late fees alone in the same year that they were offered to buy Netflix, they had every reason to believe they could win. But ironically, it's actually the late fees that explain the collapse of Blockbuster far more than it is their failure to buy Netflix.
Over time, the company developed a subscription model that drastically simplified rentals and reduced friction for users. They also invested heavily in their recommendation algorithm, ensuring viewers found content they loved, which built loyalty and engagement. Blockbuster, in contrast, reacted slowly, focused on short-term profits, and missed opportunities like early streaming deals and even buying Netflix outright.
Why did Blockbuster really fail? And more importantly, was it actually a good thing? Imagine this, Blockbuster at its peak wasn't just a video store, it was the video store. At its height, Blockbuster had more locations than most countries in the world had movie theaters. And with more than 80,000 employees and an annual revenue of nearly $6 billion, it was a titan of the entertainment industry. So, how exactly did Blockbuster experience such a meteoric rise? And what drove this behemoth of a company to go from over 9,000 stores in 2004 to just one today?
By 2010, Blockbuster had filed for bankruptcy, leaving Netflix as the undisputed pioneer in the new era of home entertainment. Now, with physical DVDs fading into the background, Netflix faced a new challenge: streaming. And this is where the real story of innovation and risk begins. Netflix's innovative subscription model disrupted the traditional video rental industry, which was dominated by Blockbuster. By offering a predictable, convenient service without late fees, Netflix quickly gained loyal customers. They invested heavily in technology and data to improve personalization, and they consistently prioritized customer experience over short-term profits. As the internet grew faster, Netflix recognized that digital streaming would soon surpass DVD rentals in convenience. Initially, the streaming library was limited. For most users, streaming was a bonus feature, but Netflix had a clear vision. Eventually, DVDs would be obsolete. Netflix capitalized on the early days of streaming, securing content when competition was minimal. They signed a pivotal $20 million deal with a company called Starz, granting rights to a large library of popular content, including movies from Disney and Sony. Strategic partnerships with Xbox, PlayStation, TiVo, and Apple enabled users to watch Netflix on TVs and consoles, before smart TVs and apps became commonplace. Streaming also enabled Netflix to expand globally. DVDs required shipping logistics that were feasible only in the US, but streaming could reach anyone with an internet connection. Meanwhile, Netflix improved its recommendation algorithm through the Netflix Prize competition in 2007, which offered $1 million for the best solution. This not only enhanced personalization, but also served as a global marketing campaign. Today, Netflix customizes thumbnails and suggestions for each user, maximizing engagement and retention. This foundation positioned Netflix to dominate a rapidly evolving entertainment landscape. While Netflix innovated, Blockbuster remained reactive, clinging to outdated revenue models. They attempted DVD by mail services and removed late fees, but policies were poorly executed. Customers were charged the full price if a DVD wasn't returned within a week, and VHS tapes still carried rewind fees. Netflix focused on convenience. While Blockbuster's strategy often felt exploitative, streaming offered instant access to thousands of titles, and more consumers switched to Netflix. By 2010, Blockbuster declared bankruptcy. Blockbuster's failure illustrates the danger of complacency. Their extensive network of physical stores, once a competitive advantage, became a liability in a digital age. The sheer scale of their operations prevented rapid adaptation. Lean and technology-driven, Netflix could pivot quickly. Blockbuster also missed transformative opportunities. In 1999, Enron offered to help them create a video-on-demand platform. In 2000, Netflix proposed selling itself for $50 million.
And we all sat down to pitch. And we said, it's great, we will do the online business, you'll do the stores, we'll have synergy, won't that be great? And they shook their heads in the right place, and then they asked the big question, how much should we pay for you? And my partner, Reed, screwed up his courage, and he said, $50 million? And that's exactly the reaction that they had. So the meeting went downhill very quickly after that, and it was a long, quiet ride on the plane back home to California. And I remember so distinctly sitting there quietly, just thinking, oh, now we're going to have to kick their ass.
And basically they laughed at us. They laughed at us because of the hubris that in the heat of a dot-com meltdown, this upstart direct mail video business would dare be worth $50 million. And it was crushing.
Both offers were ignored. Netflix's success stemmed not just from Blockbuster's mistakes, but from foresight, innovation, and a willingness to take risks. The contrast demonstrates a timeless lesson. Companies that fail to adapt to technological change risk obsolescence. Moreover, Netflix leveraged these lessons to build a culture of continuous reinvention. They understood that innovation wasn't just about technology, it was about strategy, vision, and anticipating how consumers would want to watch content in the future. Their willingness to pivot became a defining feature, distinguishing them from slower, more traditional competitors. Despite their early success, Netflix faced internal challenges. By 2011, streaming had grown dramatically, while DVD rentals were declining. Reed Hastings decided to separate Netflix's DVD and streaming services. Streaming remained on the Netflix platform, while DVDs moved to a new website called Quickstar. The separation caused confusion and frustration. Users required 2 accounts and 2 logins to access services they previously enjoyed together. Pricing also changed from $10 for both services to $8 per service, effectively doubling costs for customers who wanted both. Quickstar was widely criticized, and over 1 million subscribers canceled. Hastings' public apology, intended to reassure users, was parodied by Saturday Night Live and ultimately worsened public perception. Netflix quickly abandoned Quickstar, merging DVD and streaming services again. This episode underscores the importance of user experience. Even innovative companies risk alienating customers if changes make services more complicated or costly. Netflix learned that simplification and clarity are essential when introducing new business models. Furthermore, the Quickstar debacle highlighted the importance of communication. While Hastings' apology was transparent, it failed to empathize with customer frustrations. The experience taught Netflix that innovation must balance business goals with customer satisfaction, a lesson that would influence future strategies. Streaming offered convenience, but also created risk. Netflix did not own most of its content. Licenses could expire or be withdrawn. To mitigate this, Netflix began producing original content. Ted Sarandos, Netflix's chief content officer, searched for a high-impact original series. He identified House of Cards, which required a $100 million investment. Multiple production companies sought the rights, driving costs higher. To justify the investment, Netflix needed hundreds of thousands of new subscribers who would remain for 2 years. The gamble paid off. Released in 2013, House of Cards became a cultural phenomenon and the first online-only series nominated for an Emmy.
No one goes to the cinema, no one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done Netflix, you win, everything, good night. But no, we got to drag it out for 3 hours.
The success proved that streaming platforms could rival traditional networks. Netflix then expanded original programming aggressively, initially prioritizing TV shows, which were cheaper than films and helped retain subscribers through multiple seasons. Global hits like Stranger Things, The Crown, and South Korea's Squid Game demonstrated the company's ability to produce universally appealing content. Producing originals also countered the trend of competitors withdrawing licensed content. Studios increasingly launched their own platforms, reducing Netflix's library. While upfront costs were high, ownership allowed Netflix to control distribution and build a lasting catalog. By 2021, Netflix spent $17 billion on content, exceeding traditional studios. This scale enabled them to attract top talent, secure international hits, and create a global cultural footprint. Netflix's success was as much cultural as strategic. New employees encounter the principle, adequate performance gets a generous severance package. This embodies Netflix's philosophy of talent density. High performers elevate the team, while underperformers hinder progress. The Keeper test guides managers. If an employee is easily replaceable, they should be let go with generous severance. The idea is that one rock-star employee can outperform 10 average ones, justifying selective hiring and high salaries. Freedom is central. Vacation is unlimited. Expenses are largely untracked, and all employees, including entry-level staff, have access to internal financial results. Radical honesty encourages critique at all levels, including feedback to the CEO. This culture fosters creativity and agility, but carries risks. Freedom can be abused, unlimited vacation can create anxiety, and radical honesty can spark conflicts. Yet Reed Hastings believes the benefits outweigh downsides, empowering Netflix to innovate faster than competitors. The culture also reinforces Netflix's philosophy of reinvention. Top performers drive bold initiatives, experiment with new strategies, and challenge assumptions, ensuring the company remains adaptable and forward-looking. Netflix's early content advantage has eroded. Disney+, HBO Max, Peacock, Apple TV+, and Amazon Prime Video produce original content, competing for subscribers. Studios withdraw popular titles to fuel their own platforms, including franchises like Friends, The Office, and Marvel films. Netflix also faces unique challenges. Amazon competes while hosting Netflix infrastructure through AWS. Consumers frequently switch platforms, creating subscriber churn. The pandemic initially boosted Netflix as people stayed home, driving unprecedented growth. However, in 2022, Netflix reported its first subscriber loss in a decade and forecast further declines. Stock value plummeted, with $50 billion lost in days. Rising content costs, licensing constraints, and competition illustrate the challenge of maintaining dominance. Even for innovators, to remain competitive, Netflix expanded international content, acquired regional hits, and used data analytics to tailor recommendations. Yet with increased competition and global market saturation, growth has slowed. The company's path forward requires balancing investment in originals, managing costs, and differentiating itself in an increasingly crowded market. Reinvention, lessons, and the future Netflix has undergone 4 major transformations: DVD sales, DVD subscription, streaming, and original content. Each required boldness, foresight, and the willingness to disrupt its own business. Netflix revolutionized entertainment, pioneering binge-watching, global distribution, and data-driven personalization. Its story demonstrates enduring lessons. Embrace risk, invest in talent, prioritize user experience, and innovate continuously. Despite current challenges, Netflix remains influential. By leveraging data, investing in originals, and maintaining a culture of top performers, Netflix can navigate an evolving landscape. Its journey illustrates that long-term success comes not from preserving the status quo, but anticipating future trends and daring to innovate. Netflix's evolution also highlights the importance of agility and reinvention. Companies that fail to adapt risk obsolescence, while those willing to take calculated risks can redefine entire industries. Netflix exemplifies how strategic foresight, coupled with cultural alignment, can create lasting competitive advantage. Even in the face of new competitors and market saturation, Netflix's history of adaptation, bold decision-making, and commitment to excellence offers lessons for companies across sectors. The future may be uncertain, But Netflix's ability to reinvent itself repeatedly suggests it can continue to shape the entertainment world for years to come.